Hey everyone, and welcome to another ProGuides TFT video. Today, we're going to be talking about patch 10.9's prevalent comps and why they've been so successful. Make sure to play these comps when you can, and you'll be able to get a higher rank until 10.9. As with every top comps list, getting the top comp will not guarantee you first place, but it will give you a high enough chance for a top 4 finish. Positioning, items, and scouting are still your most important tools in the game, working together with your comp in order to give you that shiny first place. Before we dive in though, make sure to check out the link in the description and get to see all the content we'll be uploading for you guys, created by the top challenger players around the world to help you get better and hit that first place in your games. We recently launched TFT coaching as well on ProGuides.com with really active and awesome coaches, just one click away from helping you climb that ladder. We'll see you guys over there. With all that said, let's dive right into our top comp for 10.9, and it's none other than Rebels. Although Rebels were slightly nerfed in 10.9, due to the buffs to GP and Aurelion Sol, as well as the repeated slight Jinx buffs, it has become strong. All the other comps getting larger nerfs also contributed to Rebels being largely viable again. Make sure you try them out, and you will climb for sure. Things are a bit different this time around though, with Jinx being the main carry, and Aurelion taking the AP items, while GP taking the tanky stuff. If you can get to level 8 and get both. Starting with playstyle. Rebels is a late game comp, and as such it aims at fast level 8, then a roll down to get Jinx 2 or Aurelion and GP. You can use Lucian or Xayah to carry Jinx items till then, along with a BladeMaster or Blaster buff. Essentially, you find a unit that can carry Jinx items, build around them, and slowly assemble Rebels on the bench and field. During your roll down at 8, the focus is on getting the 6 Rebels and Jinx 2, with the legendaries being icing on the cake. Your aim is for the comp to look like this at level 7. And like this on level 8. After assembly, you econ back to 50 and level to 9. The decision on when to do that depends on your HP. You usually position them on the right side because that allows you to bunch them up a bit less in 3 rows of 2 instead of the diamond with the carry in the center. Be careful of Mana Reavers on GP or Shroud of Stillness on your whole team. It can wreck Rebels due to their clumped positioning. If you get a Rebel spat, you definitely want it on GP and you should position him accordingly. Looking at items needed for this comp, they're extremely flexible. You do not go the usual blaster-friendly items on Jinx, aiming for things that can help her get online quicker. Infinity Edge, Hurricane, even Deathblade and Last Whisper can give you great results. You should usually strive to put one defensive item on Jinx, but it's not wholly necessary. Tank items go to GP and AP items on Aurelion, with a preference for Guardian Angel on GP. And that's it about Rebels. Remember, the comp is quite popular right now, but it does not rely on 3-starring units, so it's doable in a contested environment. Mastering it will definitely help you climb in rank. The next comp we're going to showcase is Cybernetic, a tempo comp. Our favorite Echo waiting room comp is back at it again, rising in power due to a combination of the following. The overall nerf to reroll comps, which killed them early. Their own early game dominance if you can get red buff Lucian. Extreme item flexibility. Their spread out positioning and burstiness can kill carry focus comps very well, countering or outlasting Rebels. Make sure you watch our Cybernetics guide on our YouTube channel for a deeper dive into how they work. Cyber's got another nerf in 10.9, but it wasn't enough to deter Aurelia from carving her way into the meta. Starting with playstyle. You'll usually start with the 3 Cybers if you can, adding Jace and Graves for Space Pirates, Vanguard, which is now uber strong in its 2-piece, and Blaster is the optimal path. It's not always available, but make sure to save items and put something on Fiora and Leona, otherwise completing the 3-piece Cybers is not worth it at all. The usual early playstyle revolves around win streaking, so level and pick units that allow you to do that until 3-7. You want to get to 8 and try to find Echo. If you find him early at 7, or are just that strong due to your excellent transitioning skills, keep leveling until 9, since it's much easier to find Echo then. Positioning can be tricky. Keep Aurelia on the sides and edges, usually to avoid the tanks, especially the tanks with Bramble Vest. Put your Echo on the front line so he ults faster. Put Vi on the edges so when she ults to the furthest target possible, she hits as many units in the process. Keep Lucian safe so he can apply red buff, and keep MF safe if she's 2-starred or has items because she's a secondary carry at that point. Let's look at the items for Cybernetics next. To understand what items to give your carries, you must first know who the carries are in the 6 Cybernetics composition. In order of priority, it goes Aurelia, Echo, Misfortune, Lucian, or Kayle. This assumes that both units are the same star level. If you have a 2-star Misfortune and a 1-star Echo, then the priorities are reversed. Stack as many Infinity Edges as you can on Aurelia, with Last Whisper being a strong item as well. Echo can hold many items, and you could just toss Thieves' Gloves on him if you want. Remember that he applies healing debuff and burn with either Morello or red buff, so both items can be used on him, or transferred from Lucian if you don't have too many. In general, Lucian is an excellent Echo item carrier, as both Static Shiv and red buff are strong on him. As for Misfortune, you want to give her AP and mana-based items, with the priority over Echo that we mentioned before. Cybernetics is super contested at the moment, especially in the early game, where people use it to have a good early game and transition to other things. Even though it's not a reroll comp and 2 or even 3 people can play it, the lack of 2-star units that will come out of that is often fatal. Make sure you keep scouting to make sure it's not too contested before you commit. Of course, if you get an Aurelia when you level to 5 and already have 3 Cybers, then, well, go for it. It's a very steady comp that will certainly help you rank up when you learn how to play it. Our final comp for this showcase is Space Jam. The third spot was quite contested, but we wanted to get a reroll comp in as well, so here it is. We will let you know the state of the rest of most comps at the end, so stay tuned. As far as playstyle is concerned, Space Jam is your usual reroll comp. You roll at 6 for Darius, since 2-cost chance is at its highest then. Funnily enough, the reduced chance for 3 costs on 6 actually helps you get him, Xin Zhao, and Rakan a bit easier too. As a rather contested comp, especially due to the sheer fun of watching Dunkmaster Darius, well, dunk, you should check early whether other people are going for it and decide to use it if you get the units before them. As a special tip in the Star Cluster Galaxy, try to lose streak early to snag that juicy 2-star Darius at the carousel. If you got lucky and got a 2-star Darius already, you can be 6 out of 9 Darius at stage 2-4. The strong point of this comp is that it has a very strong early game, farming gold with Graves and Darius, later Jace replacing Graves, to fuel your econ. Thus, you're usually quite healthy going into mid-game and should push your advantage with leveling and fleshing out the final comp, which looks like this. Where you go after your 7 units depends on the game. You can go for Mystics if you find Lulu, Sniper if you use Ashe as your 4th Celestial, etc. Try to find units that can complement Jace and Darius in their dunking, like CC units, or buffing combos like Mystic or Chrono. You should try to 3-star as many of those units as possible, itemizing them accordingly. For example, if you 3-star your Rakan, throwing a Shojin on him is not a bad idea if you finished itemizing Darius. Kassadin is also a strong item carrier if 3-starred. Speaking of items, Darius is not too tricky. He needs Ionic Spark, Rabadons, and a defensive item like GA, Trap Claw, or Quicksilver Sash. If you can't find that, go for a 3rd offensive item, like 2nd Rabadons, Jeweled Gauntlet, etc. Jace can take the tank items like Bramble Vest, Frozen Heart, you got the idea. Space Jam is a comp that you can certainly use to climb. One of our amazing ProGuides coaches recently hit Challenger, playing mostly Space Jam in lobbies with Soulless, Kiting, and other stars, and getting first. So go out there and dunk! Now for a little update on the rest of the comps. Mech Infiltrator has it tough. It can obviously still win lobbies, but it's becoming increasingly hard, with the mech having to have at least Bramble Vest to survive enough time for the infiltrators to do their damage. Also, without Demolitionist Kaisa, it will be even tougher. It still is probably the 5th or 6th best comp, so if you get a chance to play it, go for it. Kayle is still quite strong in her Chrono variation, but instead of Cybers, weaving in Celestial and itemizing MF as a second carry is giving great results. Also, due to the bunching up of Brawler, Blasters, and Rebels, Rapid Fire Cannon is now definitely the item for Kayle, along with Guinsoo's and QSS or GA. Dark Stars are decent, but much harder to pull off. They often fall to the burst of Jinx or Aurelia too quickly, with Xerath and Jhin not able to evaporate enemies fast enough. Again, still viable, just more balanced. Brawler Blasters is a very strong comp at the moment, but people contesting the Jinx have disastrous consequences. It is still a comp that rules mid-game and can even transition into Rebels if you so desire, now that Jinx is the main carry. Celestial Protectors is actually doing pretty well, but its units are contested by Space Jam, making it much tougher to hit 3-stars. E-Girls are okay, but Syndra sold her Mana Printer to Sona, and you need 2 Chalices and an Archangel to make them get first, if that. Still decent, following the overall trend of relatively balanced comps. Candyland is a new comp comprising of 3-starred 1-cost units like Leona, Poppy, Twisted Fate, and Zoe, with very versatile comp direction depending on your items and units that you get. You use Star Guardians, Sorcerers, and 4 Vanguards and just overwhelm your opponent with 3 stars. You should definitely try it, as it has yielded massive LP gains to challenger players with multiple firsts, particularly because its units are more or less uncontested and plentiful. And that's it for this video. We'll be uploading every week on Wednesday and Sunday. Thanks for watching, everyone, and make sure to check out our TFT content on YouTube and our high elo coaches on ProGuides.com. If you have feedback for us, comment below and we will be happy to read what you have to say. Now get out there and farm some LP using the comps you saw here today. Good luck with your TFT grind.